webinar has started, you guys.
We did it. We made it on time.
I did a little note that says the webinar has started. So here we are. So hi, you two.
Hi.
This is so much fun. I don't know you guys, so that makes it even more fun.
No, I'm
but
excited.
I've been stalking you on Facebook and online. Facebook, you were hard to find. I got to tell you.
Oh, were we?
I found your like a duo page, right?
Yes.
Like a page for the book, but I looked you up individually first. And Allisa, I found you, and Kristin, I couldn't find you. So I had to go elsewhere. I had to put on my little Nancy Drew hat and I found you. I found you. Don't hide from me. Don't you worry.
I'm supposed to be more hidden so I can hide from students. So I'm shocked you
know, and I didn't know that. Well, I didn't. It was luck because there are actually more than one of you, which is surprising to me. I know.
My name.
I know, but yes. But there was one that had two women, and I was like, well, that's her right there. It's got to be her.
Bullseye.
She's a better detective than you are in hiding, Allisa.
She's a better stalker, that's all. So I want to say to the people who are watching, we have the chat bar at the bottom of the screen. If you hit chat, it's going to pop up on the right-hand side of the screen. And if you want to talk to each other, you can. Do what I did not do the first time I was on here, and make sure you go to the bottom and choose everyone that you want to talk to. See, so I will say, hi, everybody. There, because I did that once and I didn't fix it, and it only went to the panelists, and I couldn't understand why nobody was answering me and nobody was talking. And then later I found out that, you know, you have to make that little change at the bottom. So do that.
I've been there too.
Zoom is like a work in progress. You got to figure stuff out. Also, if you have any questions for us, pop them into the Q&A box at the bottom, and I will try to keep an eye on that because the chat roll can roll by pretty quickly. But you guys, you have a book.
We do.
And you wrote it together, which is so like, I need to know how that works, because I've been doing this for a long time, and I've written novellas that have been in groups of stories with other people, but I've never actually written with somebody. So I want to know about Wasteland. So first of all, Wasteland is part of a series. Is that true?
Yes, 3 books. It's a 3-book series.
3 books. Okay. And is it all going to be with Danny and Kate, or are things going to?
There are girls.
Okay. All right.
We're loyal to our girls.
All right. And it's dystopian, correct?
Yes.
All right. So
that's not a lot of people have a taste for, especially these days, but.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of dystopian movies out though. So I think it is popular. Maybe. I think people just maybe don't realize that there are books in that genre as well. I mean, could it be that?
Maybe. I like it. Maybe I'm just morbid, but I like it.
Also, the sucker is long. 98,000 words. That is a good sized book.
Yeah, you should have seen how many. You should have seen how many words there were before Barbara Ann Wright got to it.
I bet.
No, streamline.
Well, it feels like a novella now compared to what it was.
So the first thing I want to know is how you guys know each other, because you're married to different people, and do you live in different states?
Yes.
Okay, so how did this collaboration come about?
A dating app. I saw her. I thought she was hot. I'm kidding. We met online. Okay. We weren't flirting or anything. We just had common interests, and we flirt now, but
of course.
And our spouses know about it, so it's fine.
So we just, I think as an adult, it's hard to make friends, and at least, I mean, I don't think I'm socially awkward, but I think it's hard to make friends. A lot of my best friends now I've either known forever or I've met, online through common interests. So we just kept that.
It's hard to, and I think the older we get, the harder it is to make new friends.
I agree.
You're not 20 something, you're not out at the bar. You're not, I mean, that's what we did when I was youngster, way back, centuries ago. So you met each other and you had common interests. How does the story come along? How do you decide you're going to write a book together? Because that's a big leap.
Yeah, we had sent each other writing. I always kind of used her as a sounding board, and I would send her things, and I've read some of her stuff, and there was.
So what was the writing? Was it fan fiction? Was it short stories? What were you reading of each other's?
Both screenplays, everything.
Okay.
And one of her stories, I particularly liked, I loved, in fact, and it kind of had similar themes to one I had written for I believe it was a web series. Was that what it was, Kristin?
I think
It was
so.
a screenplay of some sort, and we kind of meshed the two ideas together. I asked her actually, because I knew how both of us are really bad at finishing projects. And so I thought maybe together, if we hold each other accountable, we could finish something. It took a while. It took
That's
us like
kind of brilliant.
but
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I remember exactly. You were like, "Hey, you wanna write a book together?" And I'm like, "Sure. What'd you have in mind?" So.
That is funny. So why dystopian?
I just think it's interesting.
Okay.
I like to world build.
Mhm.
I know Allisa likes to world build. I love sci-fi, dystopian, anything kind of like that. I don't know. I think you can do a lot with it. You can make it, it's set in the future, but you can still kind of write how things were in the past if you take, so I don't know. It's just, I guess I'm just twisted.
No, that's cool. And I actually have a note in or a line in my notes here about world building and how I feel like if I'm writing a book on my own and I have this world in my head, like there are some things that I just know in my head and I don't necessarily have them written down, but you two have to make sure you're on the same page at all times. So how did you do that? Was there a list? Did you world build together at first before you started writing? Like what was the process?
Yeah, we have a shared Google folder,
Okay.
on Google Drives, and a lot of it was talking before it was even writing and making lists. Like we'd make lists of character names and we would decide things about those characters and we decided where the plot was going, and then it just kind of went from there. But we were really good about agreeing on most things. We kind of saw it the same. Very few things did we have to talk through a lot with the first book. The second book, I feel like we're taking different sides a few more times, but still not a lot.
Is that how far you are? Are you on the second book now?
The manuscript's done.
Okay.
The outline for the third book is
Started
75% done, I guess.
Okay.
Allisa had something that she wanted to do like towards the end of the third book, and I was like, no, no. And Alyssa's, come on, hear me out.
Absolutely not.
So I think it's when I hesitate, she knows I'm about to say no. And
Yeah.
then, and then it's something big. So I promised her I'd think on it, and we're going to do it her way. She convinced me.
Yeah.
Nice, Allisa. Way to go.
I know her well enough to know if I wait her out.
Well, Kristin, do you just have to like let it roll around in your head for a little bit?
I do. I try to play it out both ways and see which one is more predictable or less predictable, is someone gonna guess this? Is someone not gonna guess this? And then I kind of play it, okay, which one kind of fits more with what we've done? And she was right, and I hate saying that.
That is hilarious. So there's also some romance in this then, right?
It's a slow burn. So there are some people
over 3 books, I would imagine,
that picked it up that thought it was a romance, like, right. And it's not. I mean, it is, there is romance in it, but we're not romantic. Like, I didn't want it to write a romance with like a side of story.
Okay.
I love to read, but I like the slow build.
Okay.
So
interesting. I'll be completely honest, dystopian is not my cup of tea, but I'm going to read this. I'm going to download it and I'm going to read it.
Let us know what you think.
Well, first of all, I love the cover. The cover's awesome.
That cover's great.
And the cover makes me want to read it.
Oh, perfect.
And so does the blurb. And I don't know about you guys, but the blurb makes me want to throw myself out a window.
When
Andy tells me I need a blurb, I'm like, oh, fuck. It gets worse. I would rather write 17 novels than write one blurb. I hate the blurb.
Oh, I love that you said that.
That's what we disagreed on this time the most in book 2 was the damn blurb. We rewrote it like
we borderline fought over the blurb.
Yeah.
Well, because you don't want to give too much away, but you have to give enough to make people want to read it. And it has to sound exciting, but no spoil. It's hard. And I don't want to take all of these big ideas I have and shrink them down into 5 lines or whatever, or 150 words or whatever ridiculousness that Sandy wants.
Well, that's funny.
It's not news for her. If she's watching, she's laughing right now because.
Well, we were writing it, and then at one point, Alyssa's like, "Let's Sandy fix it." Just let Sandy.
And she'll do a good job. Sandy is like the blurb queen. I will send her a blurb, and she'll send it back, and I'll be so angry because hers is always better, and it makes me mad.
When we got started that we needed to fix something, I remember being like, "Oh my God, we go again." It was one suggestion, and I was like, "It's going to take us a month."
I need it in 3 days. Fix it.
Yes. Well, and sometimes she will put something in the blurb that I didn't have in my book, which I think is what you're saying, and then I'm like, "All right, I can add that in."
Right.
It just makes the blurb better. I'm like, "All right, I'll run with that." But yeah, right. Blurbs are the bane of my existence.
Mm-hmm. God, mine too.
And I don't enjoy editing, but I would rather edit 1,000,000 times than write a blurb.
Yes.
The worst.
Well, I don't know. When it comes to editing, every time we had a little note to add more feelings, I think I wanted to slam my head down on the desk. I'm like, I don't have any more to give.
Carson Tate does that too. Her and I check in with each other every morning. And sometimes there'll be a note where she'll say, "And today I have to write about stupid feelings."
Kristin, when we would edit at different times of the day, I used to tell her she had feelings fatigue because her writing would get
sloppy,
go downhill. Yeah. Yes.
So you can tell when she's like over the emotion, being emotional.
Change perspective and change.
So bad.
So did you each take a character and write it that way?
No.
Okay.
I had that question today from a friend of mine who texted me and asked if one of us wrote Kate and one wrote Danny.
Right.
But no, we both wrote in both.
Okay. That's kind of cool. That is actually really kind of cool. I'm looking at someone, Mary Burns in the chat room or the chat bar says that she suggests that someone starts a blurb writing business for us.
I'd pay for that.
Wasn't there was a movie with Ben Affleck. Isn't that what he did? Didn't he write blurbs for the back of books? The one that's on a plane, Force of Nature.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen it.
I don't even know that I've seen the movie, but I only know that because I thought, why don't I have one of those? One of those. I need to hire somebody to write the blurbs for my books, and then I'll be okay.
Ben Affleck
for a movie.
Just hire Ben Affleck. He could do
it.
It.
Yeah, I think he's a little busy.
True. So you have how many books? About 30?
I have, so Shaken and Stirred that just came out is 29, but I've written 30, 31, and I'm working on 32 right now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Are they all romance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
This is my burning question that I've been thinking about since I saw we were going to have a chat.
All right. Should I brace? All right. I'm ready.
No, I don't think so. I'm just being dramatic. Do you reuse character names?
I try not to. I do often, I think, with minor characters.
Okay.
And it was pointed out to me once that I use the name Sarah a lot, and I don't know why. I don't reuse them for main characters. Okay. And I actually had that happen when I was writing just a couple books ago, when I was writing The Secret Poet. In my head, Morgan's name was Abby, and I had written the blurb and everything. And then I was like, I think I used that before. And I had to literally go back through my books and look because I can't remember anymore. And I found one. There's Abby in 96 Hours. And so I had to email Sandy and be like, I got to change her name.
Oh no.
We changed this, and Sandy was like, fine. She'd already sent the blurb off to people, but we fixed it.
Oh no.
That's the only time that I had that issue. But I think when you have, when you get to 30 something books, you forget. I could not name all of my pairings. I could name most of them, but if you went through all of my books, there would be a couple that I'd be like,
I think they end up together.
Right? I don't know what their names were. I can't remember. I can't remember last names at all. No.
Okay.
Don't even ask me.
I hate naming people. That's why
I don't mind it. I said on another panel on Friday, I think, that cemeteries are a great place for last names.
Oh,
But I have lists everywhere of first names. And I will often, when I decide how old the character is, I will often go to, I will Google most popular baby names for the year she was born. And then take a look at like the first 100 names and pick one off of there just to keep it realistic. But if I hear a name that I like, I have a list on my phone and it's ridiculously long. And I like to do like one name a little unusual and the other name kind of normal.
yeah.
You know, I don't want to have two like really crazy names because that seems unrealistic to me. But yeah, names, I don't mind naming people, but I get why that would be hard on some people.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes Kristin just names the side characters, and when I go in, I'm like, well, we have to change that name. She has this really weird knack for naming people I'm related to, but she doesn't know I'm related. Like
Well,
she chose the name Janice. I changed it. I don't know if you saw that in book 2. We have a side character named Janice. That's my grandma's name.
Okay.
Like, well, I better change it because
I would also think as a teacher, you must have like, no, I had that student. I hated that student.
oh yeah.
Yes, I was a kindergarten instruction assistant, and there are names that I was a substitute teacher for a while too, and there are names that I will.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's hard. I mean, I know a lot of people and I'm Italian, so I've got a very large family. So it's hard to, and I just wrote this series is about Italian cousins, but I had to name them all and not use any of my own relatives. Yeah, that was hard.
It's a good book. So I have 2 kids, a job, I write, and then so I don't have a ton of time to read on top of trying to write. But I crushed your book in like 2 days.
That makes me so happy.
It's good. It was a quick read. It was good.
Good. That's a good thing. That's actually.
And then I looked, and I think the next one in the series is December.
Yep.
And I was like, what? Come on.
That's my
Vanessa's number 2 and Amelia's number 3.
Perfect.
That's my question for you is, do you have a process, like a strict process that you follow to churn these books out?
Yes.
Because it seems like you write really fast. We write so slow.
Well, you also have other
yourself,
jobs.
Alyssa.
You shut up, Alyssa. You speak for yourself.
She writes better quality than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I do this full time now, so this is my job. And I write 3 books a year. So I sit down and working from home. I don't know. So you're a teacher, and Kristin, what do you do now?
I work in a corporate office, and I also have my own multimedia business,
I saw your talk with one of the Olympics athletes.
Oh yeah, Erica Sullivan. You guys should go check it out because
cool.
She was really cool. She was fun.
That was cool. If you have the link, put it in the thingy, put it in the chat bar.
I'll look for it.
I learned when I started working from home that, working from home is amazing, but they don't tell you how hard it is to get used to, because it's so easy to get distracted by things like laundry, walking the dog. You know what? I got to get some groceries. I'll just do that first. It's awful. So it took me, I would say it took me close to 1.5 years to learn how to, I realized that I needed to treat this like I was going to work. I get up, I walk the dog, I have some breakfast, I take a shower, I put on clothes, I put on makeup, I sit down at my desk. I was trying to do I'll just work in my pajamas. Nobody will know. No, I felt so unproductive doing that. I actually wrote more when I had another job and I was fitting writing in between when I could, because I knew that I have an hour and that's all I have. Now I have 8 hours and I can watch Netflix, or it's awful. So I really had to learn how to be disciplined, and that was difficult. But yeah, so I sit down, I use Scrivener, which is my app. And when I start a new book, I generally shoot for 80,000 words, and it's usually a little more, a little less. And I put in that I want to work Monday through Friday. And then that tells me, and I put in the deadline, and then that tells me every day how many words I need to write that day.
Oh, wow.
Stay on task. And some days I write more and some days I write less, but it recalculates every day. So that has been a big help. The series actually went really fast, and that was really cool. And now I'm on this next book that is not moving fast. And that's annoying me to no end because I kind of got used to like, oh, this is easy. This scene is writing itself. That's not happening anymore. So the book that I'm working on right now is a little bit slower and a little bit harder. And I'm in the beginning, and the beginning is always hard for me because I don't know these people yet. But yeah, I have a process every day. I sit down. I was just on another panel earlier today, and Amanda Radley said the same thing. She said, if she doesn't get her words by noon, she's not getting them.
You owe me too.
That's how I
I
am.
have to do it in the morning. I can't do it in the afternoon. I can't write.
I am fresher. I am more creative. I have tried to write at different times of the day, and I can force myself, but I don't think it's as good. And I have friends who are like, I hate you for getting your words so fast. But I'm like, if I don't get them in the morning, I'm not getting them at all today. And they're just going to get tacked on to tomorrow. So I don't have a choice.
That's why Allisa, she's like, after school, I'm going to try to come online. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to do that. I can't do it. I got to do it. Like mine is usually I try to get it done definitely before noon, but in like the 9 to 10 hour is the best.
Okay. All right. So you're a morning writer.
And it's funny because I'm not a morning person at all.
I was just going to ask. So no?
No, I don't want anyone to even look at me in the morning. I'm like, just everyone get away. Just need like 3 cups of coffee. Don't talk to me. So yeah, no, it's funny. I just am not a morning person, but I guess I'm a morning writer. So
interesting. And Allisa, what about you? Would you prefer to write? I mean, I know that you have to write at night, but do you prefer to write at night?
No, I prefer to write in the morning, and in the summers I do.
Okay.
But during the school year, just whenever I can, usually on the weekends or at night.
You got to fit it in. And so do you know, like when I had a day job and I was writing, I knew that when I sat down, I'm like, okay, I've got like an hour and a half and then I've got to do whatever. So I would put the pedal to the metal and write as much as I possibly could in an hour and a half. And there was no messing around. And now I'll be like, all right, it's 8:30. I got to get as much done as I can by noon. And then, I'm on Facebook and I'm looking at TikTok and what's new on Netflix. It's awful. It's awful.
All right. No, that is the same. That is the same. Yeah. Especially in the afternoon.
We have a question for you guys. Mary wants to know, when you write, do you trade chapters back and forth, or how do you come to a consensus that a chapter is quote unquote done?
They're never done.
If we had more than our allotted editing passes, we would edit our books forever.
We'd still be editing book 1.
Mm-hmm. Our process mainly is we sit down and we decide, we do the outlines together.
Okay.
And try to do like a really detailed, this is what's going to happen in this chapter, this chapter, this chapter. And then a lot of times it's whoever has time will go in and start it, So like sometimes I'll go in and start a chapter and I'll write, the bare bones, like here's some dialogue and here's a couple little bit of direction. And then in all capital letters, everything that needs to happen. And then Allisa will go in and fill it, or Allisa will start a chapter and then I'll go.
That's interesting.
I think there's very few chapters I started, maybe even one. Kristin's usually pretty good about starting them.
Yeah.
And like she said, she'll leave me a block of all caps, make this stuff happen. So then, okay, now I'm on.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I asked her too. I was like, you want to start all these? She's like, no, give me direction. And then usually, and I'm like, okay. So
that's cool though. That's like the perfect working relationship. So what are the pitfalls for you guys, aside from not being in the same room?
Good question.
It feels like every time one of us is busy, the other one is too. I feel like we go through bouts of we can both work and bouts of we both can't. And so it kind of puts us at a stalemate. And the pitfalls, definitely, we both have really young kids. And so and spouses, and that's hard to work around with jobs. And so really just timing.
Well, especially because weekends are out, because the kids are home and it's just.
I didn't even think of that. So you do most of your work like what, weekday night? Well, I mean, Kristin, you write in the morning. You're right. So you write in the morning and then go to work?
Yeah, I write before I even do anything for my job. Okay. Because when I get sucked into my job, I'm like, oh no, it's really busy. It's funny. I remember printing out chapters at work and during my lunch break, sitting in my car and like editing them, handwrite editing and like writing notes
Mhm.
and all that stuff. And I have a coworker who was, she would jog at lunch and she would pop her head in the car and be like, what are you doing? I'm like, editing, you know? So, yeah.
Do you guys enjoy editing or not?
No, not,
Sometimes
it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but
I think I used to like it.
I find writers are all over the board with editing. Some of them love it. Some of them despise it, and some are in the middle. And I think the longer you write, the longer you're in the business of writing, the easier editing is to handle. You don't take it as personally.
Mhm.
I mean, in the beginning, my first few books, I would get my edits back and I would sit in a corner and cry.
mm,
And then I started to realize that, okay, this is your job. You can fix this. It's, nothing is, you don't ever get edits back and you're like, well, that's it. This book is, I'm not publishing this. I mean, that doesn't happen. You just fix it. You do what the editor suggests, or you argue or whatever, and you fix it. That's your job. So I learned that.
We didn't argue too much. We were kind of scared.
Well, I mean, generally your editor is right. I mean, when she suggests like big changes or big problems, I tend to listen to mine.
we do too. We do too.
Yeah, if I'm going to fight with my editor on something, it's going to probably be like something tiny, and she's pretty good at the back and forth. So I don't worry about it too much anymore.
I think we did a like control all to just accept all changes
Yep.
at one point.
Yep.
Because we were like, we trust you. You know what you're doing.
Exactly. I tend
Not out to sabotage us. So
exactly.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. And things like punctuation and grammar, I
Yeah.
just accept all of that stuff. If it's like a plot point or something, then I might take a look at it and be like, well, but it doesn't usually, that doesn't happen very often for me.
Right.
No.
No, thankfully.
You see, there's another question here. Have you ever considered writing Wasteland as a movie screenplay?
I'd love it.
Well, some of the story did start off in a screenplay format because the two stories we melded together, one was a story and one was a screenplay. So yeah, I think it would be fantastic.
I want Erica Sullivan to make our movie.
She can write screenplays. So
She's in film school right now.
mhm.
Not just an Olympian. She's in film school. She wants to change the world in LGBTQ movies.
Man, we need some people to do that, because so here in Rochester, I live in Rochester, New York, and we have Image Out, which is the LGBTQ film festival. And it's pretty significant. I think we're the largest LGBTQ film festival on the East Coast, aside from New York City, the one they have in New York. And so we have people from all over the state come for our festival. It's in October. It runs over 10 days. The pandemic has kind of thrown a wrench into the gears, but I've been on the programming committee for many years now. And that basically means that I sit in a room with a bunch of people and we watch the movies that want to be part of the festival, and we decide if they're worthy.
Oh, wow.
And there is so much crap out there. I mean, there's really good stuff too, so don't get me wrong. But every time I see something that's awful, I'm like, I have 30 books. My friends have dozens of books. Why are you not coming to any of us?
Right.
And using ours? I mean, seriously, I don't understand. I watch some of these movies and they're just, I want to poke my eyes out. And I don't understand why people that are filmmakers in that industry are not looking to the novel writers in our community. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Question.
And
I
would-
want Hallmark movies with two women. Don't change the formula. I want the predictable formula.
Yep,
I want
me too.
all of it.
Me too. Yep, absolutely. I'm right there with you.
Yep.
I want the whole thing. And I knew, I was not surprised when was it them or was it Lifetime that dipped their toe in last year and did a boy movie? Because of course they did, because their demographic is straight women. So,
Right.
But then there's part of me that's like, okay, it's our turn now.
Mhm.
Where's our movie? And there've been some sidekicks that have been lesbians,
Right. Right.
or bisexual, but we
Like
haven't had
the restaurant owner best friend.
Exactly. And she usually hooks up with somebody like in the background by the end. but I want them to be the leading ladies. Come on.
No.
Give me Elizabeth Mitchell picking up a girl. I'll be very happy with that.
Ooh, I'd watch that. I love Elizabeth Mitchell.
Yeah, she's at the top of my list.
Mine always changes and I get so much crap from it.
Mine changes a lot, but she stays at the top. The other 4 rotate, but she
Olivia Wilde stays at the top of mine.
She's a cutie. Yeah, she's pretty hot.
So.
But I just saw something the other day that she was in where she was making out with a girl. What was it?
And it wasn't me.
It was not you. I'm sorry.
Olivia
Wilde.
I
can't remember what it was now.
Was it House?
No.
Wild.
No. It'll come to me. Keep talking.
The OC.
Do you picture certain like celebrities as your characters? Okay.
Always. I know who they all are.
So who were you picturing in your?
You won't tell you.
Not telling you.
I've already read it. Will you just chat?
No.
You're the
No,
worst.
because I don't want to put that image in somebody's head.
I get it.
You know what I mean? I'll tell you privately.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
Yeah, I can tell you who the 3 cousins all are.
Oh, perfect. I definitely want to know. Please tell me privately.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. I won't.
I usually don't because I don't want, what if I use Julia Roberts and somebody who's reading the book is like, oh, I fucking hate Julia Roberts. Then like I've ruined the book for that person. So
that was our big thing when we had to do the cover design. We were like, no full faces because we didn't want to. So we got half a face, which works.
Absolutely, that works well.
It works, but we were like, no full faces, please.
Yep.
And we talk about who we picture too, and some of them.
And I'm very visual, so if I have somebody in mind, I usually print a picture out and I put it somewhere where I can see it while I'm writing, just to keep that fresh in my head.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
I'm reading one of your books right now.
One of mine?
Yeah, Flavor of the Month.
Okay. Yep.
And I'm not done yet, but it's so descriptive with the food and the baking and it makes me really hungry. And I said this on a panel yesterday that sometimes I'm reading it so late at night that I have to like set it down. So I stop reading before I go to the kitchen and start eating. So when you come up with inspiration for characters like that, or when you have plot points like that, are you writing what you know, or did you do a ton of research on baking and making pies and being a professional chef and all of that?
It's kind of a mix because I hate research. I hate it with a passion. That's why I put everything in the same fictional town so that I don't have to research any like real city. I'm a pretty decent baker. I'm not great at it, but I'm pretty good and I know the basics. And I know enough to get somebody through pie making or lemon bars or when I was a teenager, I worked at a pizzeria, very small for a guy who ended up being my brother-in-law. But in the morning when I would get there before the lunch rush, he would make cinnamon rolls. And so he would, he'd get it all with the pizza dough and he'd make cinnamon rolls. And when I got in there, the whole place would smell like cinnamon rolls. So that's where I got that from.
That scene.
Yeah. And I've been in small business in my life. I was in corporate America for 17 years. So I kind of know how a business runs. I do find that I try not to get too detailed about those things. A, I don't want to bog my reader down, but B, I don't want to do so much research that whoever reads my book goes, wow, she did a lot of research on how to run a business. That's not what I'm going for. But I know enough to get by. I'm trying to think of which of my books I had to do research. So for these, I was making drinks. I was experimenting with drinks and trying to figure out what worked and what didn't. And I learned about how to make a good martini at the bar at the Ritz in New York City. I was there on a trip with my wife at the time. And we stopped in there like in the middle of an afternoon. So there was nobody at the bar. And we ordered martinis and the guy taught me all about the ice and how long you have to shake. And so it all stayed in my head. And so I used all of that. And I used to bartend.
Oh, okay.
Way back.
It made me very thirsty and I didn't have anything to make any of the drinks and I was very sad.
I had my bar, I have bartending for dummies and I had my bar book. And when I was looking for drinks, I was like, oh, this sounds good. Let me make this. Let me see what it tastes like. And then I put it in the book.
I'm just picturing you being like, it's all for research and making. Yeah.
I write everything off. Every place I go, everything I do, I write it off because it all gets filed away. And that's one of the things about writing that I think the people who don't write don't necessarily grasp is that even when I'm not actively typing words, there's always something going on in here, always. So even if I sit down and I have one of those days where the words just don't come and I feel like I've been a failure today, I'm not, because it's still percolating in my head. And no matter what else I'm doing, I'm still thinking about the story.
Oh my gosh, me too.
If I'm driving, if I'm in the shower,
those are our two. Those are my two. That's where I get my best ideas.
Yep, me too. I was sitting on another panel. I need to get a waterproof whiteboard and stick it in the shower.
I have a.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, I gotta find one of those. I get so many ideas in the shower, and by the time I get out and dry off, it's gone.
You don't remember. You have to write them down when you get them.
Yep. That's
but
huge.
as far as research goes, at least if you do any in yours right now, or like drinks and food, or whatever, like my computer search history is full of like how to make bombs. So I'm like, oh no.
We're not going to see you on the news, are we, Kristin?
I hope not. And I literally like will say, if I have a notepad and I have all of these, I don't do any searches on my work computer. Mm-hmm. But if I have any, if I'm writing anything down in a notepad and I carry it with me, I have a big sticky on top that's like, this is research for a book I'm writing. I promise. Please don't arrest me.
That's hilarious. All right, we have a question for you guys. What was the spark that led to your story idea for Wasteland? Like, where did that come from?
For me, a video game. I play video games a lot. And I love the Fallout series, and they take place in like, a wasteland basically.
Okay.
So I just, every time and I love science fiction, and I love the game Mass Effect, and every time I play video games, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I want to write stories in a universe like this.
I was waiting for the chat bar. There's Tony. Ooh, a gamer. I was waiting for somebody to be like, oh, a gamer.
See, that's the other thing is I'm writing books. I have a job. I have kids. I'm trying to squeeze video games in.
So busy.
What about you? Like, did she come to you with the idea and you were like, yeah, let's run with it? Or did you have stuff of your own?
Well, we had stuff of our own for this particular story. A piece of it that I brought to the table, I was inspired by, it was a documentary that Leonardo DiCaprio did about like the earth disintegrating, or like how the waters are going to take over. And so I kind of got this dark, like if the United States looked different and our government was overturned. So it was really a lot of the plot of what the world would look like. Yeah. And that's where the idea for me kind of sparked. And then we just built it together.
Interesting. It's like letting someone else into your head to write this together.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I don't know. I think maybe I'm too set in my ways at this point, where I'd be like, no, that's a stupid idea. Get out of here. No, I'm not doing that.
It is funny when we try to convince each other of things. It's not always huge plot stuff, but
yeah. I'm going to tell the story again, Kristin. I did it yesterday, but when she's trying to convince me that she needs to do something, she'll send me 25 messages, and usually I'm at work. And it's 25 messages in a row of like, listen, this is why, and this is why, and this is why, and this is why, and she'll get back something for me. It's like, okay, cool.
Alyssa's always like, whatever, I trust you.
Do what you want. Cool. Sounds great. And she's like, no, but really, I have all my reasoning. I'm like, I trust you.
Listen to my reasons why, please. I worked hard on this presentation.
Send me a PowerPoint about why we need.
So it's like when you go up to somebody and you want to convince them and you're all ready and they just agree and you're like, I had a whole speech plan.
I had to pump myself up for this. But I think it helps too that when we tell each other no, we don't like it, we don't really take it that personally. It's okay. It's not like we're trying to be mean.
Right.
So, Alyssa came to me with an idea, and I think I flat out was like, no, I don't want to do it. And then that's when you were like, hear me out.
Kristin, Joni wants to know, what's your feeling about Dragon Age 2?
Dragon Age 2. I played all of them. I don't think the next Dragon Age is ever coming out. My favorite games though are are Mass Effect, and I loved the Fallouts, not all the Fallouts. But I just finished Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But I like the Dragon Age. I didn't finish Skyrim, but I got to get back into it. But my biggest thing is I'll start these games and then I won't finish them, it comes back to the books. So like I started the, Fallen Order and I didn't finish it, and it's a bad habit.
You just lose interest?
Yes, and then I don't. It's like if I'm reading, sometimes if I'm reading books or anything, and I love it so much, I don't want it to end. So I just close it and then I stop it, and then it doesn't.
And then it never ends.
But I never get to see the end.
Is there any part of the book that you guys like really butt heads on?
Yeah.
No, I think something that happens in book 3, which is funny because book 2 is not even out yet. But I think that was probably our biggest, and we'll tell you what it is when it comes.
Okay.
Out.
Yep.
But
No, that's fine. No spoilers
or whatever. But
so did you have all 3 of them plotted out from the beginning?
Kind of. It changed as the book changed. They kind of evolve as you write. And so book 2 evolved more after we finally finished editing book 1.
Okay.
But it's on the same kind of path that we had from the beginning.
It's me. I like to just add things. It's me. We'll agree like, okay, we need 15 chapters to do this, or 12 chapters. I think, didn't we say the first book was going to have 12 and it ended with 15? Because I'm like, no, I just need to keep adding this stuff. And that was just, oh my gosh, like, come on. So it's me. I deviate from the outline, and I'm sure it gives her gray hair.
What are the titles of the next 2?
What are the titles?
Yep.
Oh, we weren't going to tell. Should we?
Oh, go ahead.
Should we tell? Okay, the next one is called Outland.
And when does that come out?
July 2022.
Okay. And then what's
cover is done, but we haven't,
Nope,
revealed it. But
Yep.
But we're excited about it. And then I guess the path of the third one will be 2023, hopefully.
That's
I don't
right.
know. Sandy just tells us when to do things.
Yep, that's what she does.
We just try to do it.
She's the wizard behind the curtain. She runs all of the pulleys and levers, and yeah. Somebody in the chat room wants to know if you guys have newsletters.
No, we do. We actually do a video series that we try to put out bi-weekly. It's called 90 Seconds with Allisa and Kristin, and sometimes we talk about us. A lot of times we try to talk about like the book, what's coming up. We think we're funny, but that doesn't necessarily mean other people think we're funny.
I don't know why we haven't gone viral yet. We're adorable.
I agree. We got Erica Sullivan to hang out with us.
Yes.
Come on, people. For 2 hours. That was a 2-hour chat that I had to edit down into like little segments. That was hard.
So Hannah wants to know, when Wasteland ends, do you have a list of other projects?
Not formally.
Yeah. I have a lot of unfinished projects.
Right.
Don't we all?
Yeah. We both did decide like, hey, maybe we should try one of our own projects after we finish the series. We will have been working together for like 6 years, 7 years by the time it's out.
Hopefully you'll both still be alive by the end and kill each other.
Yeah. Good thing we're in different states.
I don't think I'll take on something quite this big, but I would like to work on something.
That is big. That is big.
It is big.
Well, my problem is all of my ideas are they're big, and I can't figure out how to rein it in, but there's a science fiction series that I have worked on before this one that I really would like to finish. So I think I might start with that. But I mean, I love working with Allisa, so we'll see how it goes separately for a little bit, and then she'll come back. She'll come back to me.
I mean, you'll be all sad. You'll miss each other. There'll be tears, gnashing of teeth, rending of clothing.
Yes.
This person, BJ, wants to know, have you two ever met in person? That's a good question. I didn't even think of that.
Yes. Yes.
So where are you both? One of you's in DC, right? Or one of you?
I'm outside of DC.
Okay. And Alyssa, where are you?
Near
cornfields.
Cornfields. Where?
Near Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay. So at cornfields.
Yeah.
You
Yes, cornfields.
It's the
We,
last Iowa State Fair. None of you would know that, but I know that.
No, I'm just jealous of your fair food. She sends me all the fried food she's eating up there.
I bet.
Mhm.
No, we were at Klexicon, was it 2019?
I was there.
Remember?
I know we probably sat on one of your panels. Was she in
Okay.
one? I think
did.
you were. I think we
Okay.
did.
So that's when you guys met in person for the first time.
I think was it?
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
And then
Yeah.
I was in Virginia for a school thing that they sent me out there for, and I called Kristen and I was like, let's go to a bar.
She's like, I'm in Fredericksburg. How far away is that from you? And I'm like, I'll make it happen.
Well, you know, there's
95 South
traffic.
sucks, but I'll make it happen.
DC traffic is so much fun.
Yeah, it's terrible. I hate it.
I have no concept of it, so I didn't care. I was like, hey, come on.
It's only this many miles away, and I'm like, yeah, I'll see you in 2 hours.
Exactly.
But,
I remember, so working for Image Out, one of the jobs of the programming committee is when we have guests come in, like directors or actors who are going to do Q&As for the films, the programming committee members pick them up and get them to their hotels. And I had to pick up this group of young actors who were in the Four-Faced Liar. And I'm driving them around, they're all sitting in my car and they're chatting, and I go to get on the expressway and it's a little busy. It's, you know, and I muttered something about, oh, so much traffic. And I saw in my rearview mirror that they all like looked at each other like she has no idea what traffic is. She has no clue, because our traffic jams and their traffic jams were completely different things. They're all from LA. So yeah, traffic, man, come on. Sorry.
I have a
Mike.
friend who lives in England, and she like driving an hour for her is excruciating. I'm like, that's my commute to work every day too, and then
Yes.
come.
DC
an
and
hour.
Chicago is like that too, I think.
Ugh. No, I don't
All right, we
like
got 3 minutes left. Anything else? Oh, wait, there's one more question. Let me check this question. Oh, Tony wants to know, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, or a combination?
I have a PlayStation 4, and I have the big new Xbox. I managed to get one of those on pre-order. So Xbox, all my apps are through Xbox. So we watch a lot of, you know, Disney Plus and stuff with my kids.
All
But
right, we've got 3 minutes. What else do you want to know? I'm looking at, I think we got all the questions. We answered all of the questions.
That's what I was looking at, is if there was any more questions. But
Yep, I think I got them all.
and I'm terrible with the chat. Sorry, everybody.
They've been, I think I've gotten all the questions there. Newsletter, gaming, links to our books. Yeah, you guys have pets? Who's got pets?
I have 2 dogs.
What kinds?
They're both rescues.
Okay.
One we thought was a German Shepherd mix, and she's definitely not. She's only like 38 pounds, but she's adorable. And then Chewy, who is a Border Collie, Australian
Okay.
Shepherd mix.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I had an Aussie. He was the love of my life. Alyssa, what about you? I know you do because I saw it in your profile picture.
we have a dog. She's a cockapoo, and she runs this house.
As it should be.
We foolishly thought that when the baby came along, he would run this house, but he doesn't. She's still very much in charge of everything.
Is she good with the baby?
No, they hate each other. No. No.
Oh, that makes me sad.
But he's learned to talk, so he just gives it right back to her now. He's
Okay.
like, no, pushes her away.
Yeah, mine always want to snuggle the dogs when they're asleep. And I'm like, not when they're sleeping, leave them alone. He's gonna bite you in the face and I'm gonna let him. Mother of the year.
Way to go, Mom.
He'll learn.
I have a rescue cat and a rescue dog. Archie, I was told, was a Chihuahua mix, which was a lie. He is not. I had his DNA done. There's no Chihuahua. I would have bet money that there was terrier. There's no terrier either.
Oh.
Nope, he's miniature pincher, Shih Tzu, Pomeranian, and then a bunch of other things called a super mutt.
Oh.
Yeah, but he
I
is, I want his personality because he is the sweetest. He wants to be everybody's friend. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body.
I always
And
feel
I
like
would
mutts
like
are
to
more
live that life.
adorable anyway.
Yeah, I would like to live that life. He's just the coolest dog. When I lost Finley, my mini Aussie, I was sure that I would go for a long time without getting another dog because he was my soul. And I made it 6 weeks. 6 weeks of crying every day. And then I was like, all right, I got to get something. And thus Archie.
And now you love him.
He is such a sweetheart. I got very lucky with him. I got very lucky. And then I have this guy. He's right here on the desk. This is Emmett. He's also a rescue. Hi, buddy. All right. I think we're out of time. Anybody got anything else? Nope. I think we're good over here. You guys, this was so much fun. I had so much fun chatting with you.
Yeah, you should get on a Zoom with us and we'll do a 90 seconds.
I would love that. That'd be great.
Awesome.
Let me know how we do that.
Absolutely.
To all of you who are here in our chat box, thank you so much for coming. I think there is more after us, so stay tuned and we'll catch you all later.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
Yeah,